What's up, everybody? I'm Chris Dailey, founder of the Sports Court, joined here by Martie Cordaro. So, Martie, thank you so much for joining the show.
Chris, I appreciate it, and kudos to you for being aggressive at an age in your life when others are not doing things like this.
Yeah, well, thank you. Appreciate it. And First, I just want to start off by saying you're the owner of the Omaha Storm Chasers, or should I say, the president of the Omaha Storm Chasers, and Union Omaha, which is a baseball and then a soccer team. And Union, both of the teams actually have some of the best logos in all of sports. When I look up top logos in sports, I usually see Omaha Storm Chasers, and I'm talking like it includes NFL teams and all these big name teams. Omaha Storm Chasers usually in the top 10.
Yeah, it's been an interesting change. We had so much history when we played at the old stadium, which was Rosenblatt Stadium, and we were the Omaha Royals for, nearly right around 40 years. And when we moved to our new facility, Werner Park, which is hard to believe it's been 10 years ago, we didn't know what to expect with the brand change. But you're right, Chris. The logo's been well received, and it's well regarded across sports, regardless of major or minor league. And then you take a look at what Union Omaha has been just in the year and a half since we launched that back in October of 2019. It has been well regarded as one of the top soccer branding over the last year and a half. And we're really eager to continue to spread that brand, as we just had an announcement today that we will play Greenville on May the 16th in the first ever nationally televised League One USL match, and we'll be on the road, but we'll be supporting with our owl logo, and we're really excited about the 21 season. I'm glad to join you today.
Yeah, and that was supposed to be the championship game. I'm very upset still about how everything turned out, and it's not a knock on you because obviously you can't control COVID. But I just thought maybe the USL should just postpone it, but not my decision, not yours. So end of the day, it's all good.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So, anyways, growing up, you're a big musician. You like to play the drums, but you're also into baseball. But did you always know that baseball was your number one passion, or did you really think that music was going to be?
Yes and yes. I have a lot of interests. Sometimes too many, but. I started playing baseball at an early age. I started playing drums around 11, started playing in bands when I was 14, 15, and played high school baseball. Went to Louisiana Tech University, education, was going to be a baseball coach. After a year, band signs a record deal, drop out of school for 3.5 years, travel, tour, record. I learned a lot, Chris, during that time. When I went back to school, I was still going to be a coach. And long story short, ended up changing major from education to marketing. And I got on the business side of sports, and that was specific to baseball at the time. And I never thought I would be working soccer, but soccer was really what drew me to coaching. Because when I was 12 in the town I grew up in, there weren't enough kids once you reached a certain age that were interested in playing soccer. I'm from Ruston, Louisiana, a town in North Louisiana. So they offered us the opportunity to coach the younger teams. And I said, yeah, of course, that'd be awesome. That'd be cool. That led me into baseball coaching after coaching soccer, which led me to education, which led me ultimately to sports marketing, and so on and so forth. So in a weird way, I'm talking to you today because I started coaching soccer at 12 years old.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool. And just a quick question. Did you play collegiate sports at Louisiana Tech, or were you just a student?
I did not. I worked for the baseball program and for the athletics department in sports business, sports marketing, and they didn't have a sports marketing field either, so I have a marketing degree. And I call it a 3-year internship when I worked for the baseball program, selling, advertising, and fence signs. That was kind of my entryway, and then I got into minor league baseball with the Chicago Cubs AA team in West Tennessee. It was the West 10 Diamond Jacks, and that was 1999. That was my jump into professional sports.
Yeah, and you mentioned the West 10 Diamond Jacks. You also did stuff with Birmingham Barons. What's your biggest takeaway from those early days of kind of putting in the so-called dirty work of minor league baseball?
Well, Chris, you know a lot. You want to come sell tickets and work for us now? I tell you, it is dirty work. It is, but at the end of the day, it's about people. We're still about community. It's still about taking care of people and giving back and creating a value for your product. And that's what I learned early on, my 4 years in Jackson and then my 2 years in Birmingham before moving on to Battle Creek, Michigan. And, every market's different. But ultimately, it's still about relationships and it's still about selling. Every sport is different, but it's still about relationships and selling and creating a value for those things that you're selling, not just transactionally selling. And that's why I believe that from market to market and now sport to sport, what I have done and my experiences are definitely transferable and applicable to to different markets and to different sports.
Yeah, and that's definitely very cool there. And I was interviewing Austin FC's president, Andy Loughnane, and what he said was, and I guess you can definitely relate to this, the main things that you want to do, especially when you're in a position like you are now in the sports field, you want to start with an expansion team. You want to make an expansion team. You want to win a championship. And he said something else, but now you want to do a rebrand. That's what it was. So those are the three things that you definitely want to do, and I think you've done all three of them, I believe. So,
I have, and that's not untrue, but building a new facility, I would probably put...
I think that's what he said,
yeah. I would absolutely put that. If it's not in his three, I would add that. But, yeah, doing an expansion team in COVID would not be something I would put in that list, and that's what we did. And, we've been a little conflicted, Chris, do we call this year Season 2? Do we pretend last year didn't happen and call it the inaugural season, use Season 1? And I've decided on neither. I'm doing Season 1 plus. That's what I'm calling 2021 for Union Omaha. It's Season 1 plus, and it's going to be a great year. It's going to be a great season. Coach Mims has put another terrific squad on the field. Obviously, it's a little early because we're still in preseason training, but we're really eager to get started and see if we can bring home the official 2021 USL League One title.
Yeah, it's great. And just to backtrack a bit, in 2004, that's when you got your first gig as a general manager with Southwest Michigan, and then you finally got it to where you are now in Omaha in about 2006. So just describe how you're feeling and just the step up in terms of, how much responsibility you have from just working in the sales department to all of a sudden being a general manager of a team.
Yeah, being a general manager, you're responsible on a day-by-day basis for a lot of people. And now being president of both clubs, I have a general manager, Peter Marlette, on the Union Omaha side, who's been with us all of 6 weeks. It's great to have Peter here. He was with the MLS club in Dallas, and it's great to have his experience. And I'm learning from Peter, even though he's a first-time GM. And then Lori Schlender, on the opposite hand, has been with the baseball franchise for a little over around 20 years. And she has vast experience and is definitely ready to be a GM. And she's actually been a GM since October of 19, but hasn't had a baseball game because of COVID. So we're really eager for her to celebrate her first year. But, being in that day-by-day role, you're responsible for so many people. And now there's that much more responsibility and liability because of COVID. And those are the things that right now really are time sucks in making sure that all things are covered, not most things. Things can't take care of themselves now. Things have to be taken care of in advance. And we learned that last year when we opened Werner Park during COVID. We had more than 180 events last year. 8 of those were Union Omaha sold-out soccer matches. But we learned a lot, and we had the experiences, and we have the experiences that a lot of other franchises and a lot of other facilities in baseball still don't have, that still haven't been able to open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. And I just want to say something, before COVID even existed, so we're going back almost a year, because a year ago the NBA shut down. So March 13th, right. That's when it happened. What's the biggest misconception about running a professional sports team?
That it's about the sport, that it's about the play on the field. That is a part of it. And in the baseball world, it's 25 to 35% of it. In the soccer world, it's probably the opposite of that. You're probably 65 to 75% of that. And when I say the sport on the field, the actual performance, the productivity of that sport. And, we were going to sell tickets last year whether we won or lost. And I assume that will still be the case this year with Union Omaha. But as we go on in the years, I've become educated that winning is more important in Union, on the Union Omaha soccer side, is more important than it is on the minor league baseball side. But above all, if it's not a positive experience, no matter how much winning or losing you're doing at any level, if it's not a positive experience, if it's not easy to get in and out of the facility, if you don't have a positive experience going to the team store, concessions, to the restrooms, if the staff isn't pleasant, if you have a problem and you go to a fan assistance or a customer service area, if you don't get fan assistance or customer service to your standards, not the standards that a team may think are appropriate, but the level of standards to a fan, it doesn't matter how many games you win or how many games you lose. So for us, we really want to create an environment in which people don't have to work to have fun, that they simply can come have fun.
Yeah, that's definitely great, and I think that's the way to approach it because, especially in minor leagues, to me, it's the New York Yankees name just sells itself, of course. But when you're in the minor leagues, you have to get a reason for people to come back to the stadium, and it's definitely a family fun environment. I prefer, because I'm in New Jersey, so the Lakewood Blue Claws are the team next to me. I prefer going to those games over the New York Yankees games because I find it like more of a family fun, kind of a tight-knit community feel, and just watching like all the antics that go on the field, all the races they do in between innings and stuff. It's a lot more fun, and that's why I definitely prefer. Of course I'll go to a Yankees game if I had a chance, but that's why I do love going to minor league baseball games and just minor league sports as a whole.
Yeah, Lakewood does a great job. They really do, and I'm excited to see them open back up under their new moniker.
Yeah, Jersey.
And it's. I'm anxious to see how that's going to be well received.
Yeah, well, see, that just rolled off my tongue. Lakewood. I know it's Jersey Shore too, so I got to get used to that one right there. But anyways, you started Union Omaha, which is a USL League One soccer team. USL is one of the fastest growing soccer leagues on the whole planet, and as you know, almost half the entire population watches soccer, so it's definitely a huge market and a huge sport. When did you realize, with all your staff and colleagues, like, hey, we want to start a soccer team?
Well, our owner, my direct boss, Gary Green, who's our CEO, we actually landed into soccer from the NBA. We were talking to the NBA about, at the time, a D-League team, which is now the G League. Mm-hmm. And through a series of meetings, events, over a year and a half time in it, it didn't work. Wasn't going to work here. And then Gary turned his attention to soccer. And we looked at the NASL. Then we turned our attention to the USL because we felt that was more financially viable, which Gary has proven to be correct. And that's how we started looking. That's when we started looking at it back in 14-15, and then led us to the announcement on May 1st, 2019. And again, soccer is not something that I have a lot of experience with. It's something that I'm learning. I will continue to learn and be educated not only on the field play, but the business, the sport, the business of the sport of soccer. And you said it right. With the vast and sheer numbers that support soccer internationally, and the growth of the sport across North America and specifically United States, and especially with the World Cup just on the horizon in a few short years, this is a great time to be launching professional soccer, as well as, and you mentioned it, the fastest growing soccer sports league in the world is the USL. It's growing very rapidly and will continue to grow with rapidity over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, definitely. And if you don't mind me telling just a 1-minute story here, but a few years ago I actually applied. I don't know if you're familiar with the MPSL, so that's the 4th division. I just wanted to see what it looked like. So when I was 12, 11, whatever, it was really young, and I couldn't even write an email. I look back and I cringe. But anyways, I start writing emails, and all of a sudden I have in my hands a paper for application for the MPSL because I've been saying, hey, I want to put a team in the league. And one of the things that the MPSL did during that time, they sent me an entire presentation, a slideshow presentation. It said in 2026, soccer will have the biggest boom ever seen in the United States of America because the World Cup is going to be played in the United States of America. So I've always just, stuck in my head, and it's definitely going to be amazing to see how big my favorite sport booms after 2026.
And that's what we are building up toward in Omaha, and I think that is definitely correct. Well, so are you still sitting on that application to fill out to become a franchise owner? Are you still waiting on that?
Listen, I wouldn't mind. I'm just trying to look for a few. I put a WeFunder up, but let's look for a few sponsors. I wouldn't mind, but I actually did start the team because I have a charitable soccer league I do for St. Jude with a bunch of my friends. And we actually started the team. We had a bunch of jerseys we made like on custom ink or whatever, and we got it going. And it's like a little futsal league, which is a variation of soccer. So I guess you could say the team's kind of started.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
The running joke is undefeated since 2018 because that's when we thought of because we never played a game. So yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you mentioned many times with coronavirus how difficult it has been to really just literally start a team. What's been the biggest specific challenge that you faced with coronavirus besides the obvious social distancing?
Yeah, for us, it's about human capital. It's about our staff. It's about people. I've mentioned that a lot today visiting with you, whether it's about sales, whether it's about the environment you have in your facility and how you treat individual fans. And in this case, it's about staff. And that was the hardest thing because when you are a business that's driven by spectators, and if you can't open, then no one can spectate, no one can watch, no one can buy a ticket. And because of that, our sales staff was automatically rendered not as important as if we would have games to sell. Mm-hmm. And we lost pretty much all of our sales staff on the baseball side and a little bit of our sales staff on the soccer side. And that was crushing in a number of ways because you have people that had dedicated their lives to the game that were impacted. You had people that had switched careers and started in baseball and soccer, professional sports sales. They were impacted. And then we had entry-level people that had been with the club for a year or two that were impacted. And even the people that remained were impacted in varying ways, in different ways. So that was probably the most difficult. And it lingers now because most of those staff, unfortunately, they had to make a decision to either wait or go find another job. So in some cases, they could continue to pay their bills and to live and eat. So most of them have moved on to other opportunities. That's not good for them. And then for the franchise, now that we're staffing back up and are bringing staff back because we do have events and games to sell, we've had to rehire new staff, which is exciting. But we're now having to reorientate and educate new staff on our culture as well as all of our products. So it's that HR, human capital, staff is probably has been the most difficult, and Chris continues to be the most difficult.
Yeah, definitely. And on the field too, Union Omaha has had a fair bit of success. Obviously, as we mentioned in the beginning, going all the way to the semifinals, and then I'm pretty sure 2 players got positive COVID tests, and the same thing happened in the league above, the USL Championship. So both USL finals were national televised finals too, cut off TV because of coronavirus, which is a big blow not only to you, it's a big blow to the league as a whole because it lost potentially millions of viewers that turn on the TV and see those games. So I was just going to say, can you walk me through that season and just describe to me, like, literally your thought process as you heard that you can't play in that championship game?
Yeah, walking backwards, and you had asked it earlier, it's difficult enough trying to reschedule a championship. You have travel and those things. Then when it's not major league sport and you don't have, a lot of television dollars and media rights dollars tied into it, and then you turn into COVID when you really don't know when teams would be well enough to play. So it was really difficult. It was a difficult conversation of do we or do we not reschedule. So if you take that away, I think the USL and the USL leadership was very courageous. We were the first professional sports league in North America to welcome fans to our home facilities and our venues in July and August. Others soon started to follow after that because NHL as well as NBA were playing in the bubble. And then when Major League Baseball started playing, they were playing in venues but without fans. So I think that probably is the takeaway. Not the fact that the championships didn't happen, but the great things that USL was able to accomplish in a very tumultuous time.
Yeah, and that's a great way to look at it there too. And it definitely is, because now the Texas Rangers have 39,000 people coming to their ballpark, which is good to see at the same time. But my dad had coronavirus, and he didn't do so well. He's fine now, but you just look at it. I guess it's people's choice, but I was happy to see just a state about what the people ultimately decide to do, and you have to be better be safe than sorry. And I guess the USL definitely made a bold choice, and in the end of the day, a good choice, because you could put a lot of people at risk.
Yeah, I think we learned a lot. Even in our 9,000 capacity venue, the most fans we had last year for any one match, I believe, was 2,800, and we ended that in October. 2,800 instead of 9,000, and we were in a state that was 100% capacity then and is now, but we chose not to do what the Texas Rangers have done. We felt it was a little more prudent to take a little bit more cautious approach. We're optimistic that we're going to be around the 50% number to start the season, and as the season goes on and fans and buyers are more confident, then we will slowly open up Werner Park to more fans at the proper time.
Yeah, and I really want to end this interview off by saying, firstly, I've interviewed 2 baseball people, including you. I haven't interviewed many baseball people, and I'm trying to get to a lot more people within baseball, especially minor league baseball. I'm so fascinated with all these stories you have to share. It was you and Jesse Cole, who owns the Savannah Bananas, their team is Bananas. It's one of the craziest teams probably in the
awesome.
world. Yeah.
Jesse's done a great job there. They really have.
I love what he's doing, and both the things you guys share in common, besides business, is really just winning a lot of awards for what you've done with these teams. You're in the Omaha Sports Hall of Fame, if I'm correct there, and you won tons of awards for the best minor league employee for the Kansas City Royals, and tons of more awards. So what do these awards mean to you? And can you just talk me through the moment you got inducted into the Omaha Sports Hall of Fame?
Well, a couple quick things. One, awards are about teams. It's like winning. Awards are about teams, and I've had great staff that work with me. People don't work for me; they work with me. That's the first thing that I'll say. The second thing, it's about opportunity. I've taken a chance from Louisiana to Tennessee to Alabama to Michigan to Omaha, Nebraska. I've taken a chance each time, and that's because of my wife, Sarah, and my boys. They've been so supportive along the way. So I've got a great team at home as well that supports me. And then the Sports Hall of Fame, I'm not quite there, but I was recognized as a community leader of the year is what that was.
Sure
so I'm not quite. I don't have enough gray hair yet to be inducted. But you know what? If I am one day, that would be fantastic. But I think the one thing that's in common with most award winners is it is about others. And it's great to have your name on an award, and it's great to team feeling for that. And there's not a sense of camaraderie, then the awards are kind of hollow. When there's a World Series won, it's not, Chris Bryant won the World Series or Eric Hosmer won the World Series. It was the Chicago Cubs won the World Series, or it was the Kansas City Royals won the World Series. So the same, and yeah, you have to have an MVP and you have to have those awards, but they're all still team awards, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I know that's definitely, that's the answer I always get when I ask people about things along those lines, but it's always fun to ask just to see and really brag about yourself in front of all the people watching. So if you're looking for one of the best presidents in all of minor league baseball, general managers, Martie Cordaro is your guy. And Martie, I really thank you for coming on. The amount of things you've done for the city of Omaha, which is a big city. When you think of Nebraska, a lot of people think about farms and middle of nowheres, and then you think of Omaha, the city. So people really do think about that. Wait, Omaha, Nebraska, correct?
That's right.
I was making sure I didn't stumble on my words right there because.
No, you're learned. You're ready. You're ready.
Yeah. So anyways, Martie, I thank you for coming on the show, and just the best of luck with this season with coronavirus and everything. I know it's been a crazy time for pretty much every sports team, but just the best of luck.
Chris, best to you, and you have my email and you've got my information. Whatever I can do for you going forward, you let me